Pop in Link's Awakening and head on over to Richard's villa, and you'll find a house not only filled with Richard and the Frogs, but a catchy, soothing tune. If you happen to stay long enough and listen to the song for about 2.5 full minutes straight, this happens. This is the infamous Totaka song that Kazumi Totaka hid in many of the games that he wrote music for. Oh, and they even did this again in the Switch remake. I can't believe they used the poopy flute. On the file select screen, you'll hear this classic tune. Put in your name and off you go to wake the windfish. But if you input the name Zelda, you'll get this mambo-infused remix, which is amazing. Pop in the Switch remake and you'll hear this again, updated in all of its modern glory. Is this what Zelda listens to? Right on. In Zelda, everyone knows that the green rupee is worth 1. Except Link's Awakening was originally monochromatic, or black and white, for the Game Boy. Okay, really it was a greenish tint, but whatever. So all rupees look like this, until the DX version released on Game Boy Color. Here, the rupees are... wait, blue? Hold on, let me check the encyclopedia. Dear Hylia, it seems that only in this game, blue rupees are worth 1, and green rupees are worth 5? At least we can be sure that the red rupee is still 20, like always. What? 30? Now you may have known that you can steal items from the shop in Maid Village, but if you do, the shop owner will literally kill you and rebrand you to forever be called the Thief by everyone in the game. But there is another way to sneak around this. The game employs the use of a rolling rupee count, meaning that whenever you increase or decrease rupees, it rolls 1 by 1 in your wallet. If we immediately save the second we buy an expensive item, we can interrupt the roll and head back to the menu. If we jump back in, we can see that we only took a small cut in the wallet, but we still have the item. Nice. Time to get digging. Bonjour les amis, here's one for the French viewers. Link's Awakening had 2 Game Boy releases, one on the OG Game Boy and an updated one called DX for the Game Boy Color. Glorious. If you put the name Lolo on the Color DX version, you'll get the Mambo Zelda theme that we covered before in the last short. But for whatever reason, if you input the name Lolo on the original French Game Boy version, this happens. Oh snap. This is my jam. Wait, la la, wait, croissant, wait. Of all the enemies you'll find, these are some of the most resilient. They're called 3 of a kinds, or in the Japanese version, simply Vegas, or Vegas. You know, the gambling city of America. These names actually give you a hint on how to defeat them as they are constantly switching symbols of your typical poker suites. Get 3 of a kind, and they're goners. But there are some bonuses here. Get 3 hearts, and they will drop hearts. 3 diamonds, we'll get you a few rupees. Too bad 3 spades doesn't give you the shovel. This thing's expensive. The final boss to Link's Awakening can be pretty intimidating, but there are a few cool ways to deal with them. In the original Game Boy version, you can pull out a shovel and reflect the energy attacks in this phase instead of using the sword. In the remake though, you'll find the shovel doesn't work anymore. However, they kept the secret by allowing you to reflect the energy attacks with the bottle. This is likely a loving nod to the N64 Ganondorf fight, where you can do the very same. But which do you prefer slaying evil? The bottle or the shovel? Was geht mein deutsches Volk? This one is for the Germans. Once again, we have a secret file name. On the original Game Boy version, input the name Moise and you'll get this. Oh snap. Now, like the French secret with the name Lolo, if you pop in the Color DX version, the song will again change. Unlike the French version where it plays the Zelda Mambo theme, this time it plays the secret Totaka song. There are literal international secrets within secrets in this game. Like, how is anyone supposed to find these? Many Zelda games feature unique interactions between bombs and arrows, and Link's Awakening is no different. Now, while we can't shoot the bombs to blow them up, we can literally shoot bombs by equipping them both together and pressing both buttons at the exact same time. It's amazing. To my knowledge, nowhere in the game does it say you can do this. And of course, it works on the original too. Awesome. On the file select screen, you'll notice these numbers next to your names, and on any version that you pop in, this indicates the number of deaths on the file, something that plenty of Zelda games do. If you beat this game with 0 deaths, you'll get an Easter egg cutscene at the end. The Game Boy version shows Marin flying away with wings after the credits, almost like an angel, but in the Switch version, it's just an image of her in the sky, followed by a flying bird. She was only ever a dream, but does this mean that she lives on in the Hyrule Heavens? What do you think it means? The German version of Link's Awakening has some interesting translations. If we happen to visit the mermaid, it seems like she's lost something. In the US version, it happens to be a necklace. However, in the German version, it's her top. If you, say, do the sensible thing and dive near her to look for it, she'll immediately dive away and call you out on it. But it doesn't stop there. These jelly-like guys called buzz blobs can give us some info if we sprinkle some magic dust on them. They transform into Kukumen and start jabbering off about random things. Of course, in the German version, they say things like, "Give me your juice and I'll give you mine." It also says, "Never without a..." Hold on. K-O-N-D-O... Right. Just gonna die now. Link's Awakening is one of the few Zelda games which act as a direct sequel, in this case, A Link to the Past. And perhaps the best place to see this evidence is in the final boss fight of Link's Awakening. In the egg sits a nightmare which turns out to be a reflection of Link's subconscious, being the enemies he defeated throughout his adventures. One form is the slime-like Zol, which Link has defeated many of. Another is Moldorm, the first boss of this game. But then we get Aghanim, a boss from A Link to the Past, followed by the Shadow of Ganon, again from A Link to the Past. The nightmare can also turn into Lanmola, an enemy seen in various games, and finally it turns into a new form, Deathel, which kinda looks like Vati in a game that's yet to happen, the Minish Cap. Which is your favorite phase? You'll encounter tons of enemies throughout your adventure in Link's Awakening, but perhaps the most dastardly and evil one is definitely not this guy. In fact, it's a Goomba. I mean, just look at it. In fact, the official player's guide for the game even lists it as a Goomba and asks what in the world a Super Mario Bros. Character is doing here. Now this guy is as basic as they come, and they only appear in these 2D sections. You can defeat them in a myriad of ways, but in a first for Link, he can actually stomp down, like Mario, on the Goombas. And with perhaps a loving nod to the sister franchise, when you do this, it will always drop a heart. A nifty way to restore some health. Right on. We can find a lone writer by the name of Mr. Wright rocking some green hair with his orange bird. His name is actually a play on the SimCity creator Will Wright. Pop in SimCity for the Super Nintendo and you'll find Mr. Wright as the info and tip aid to your city. The music in his house is actually even similar. Now, infamously, you can get a letter from this goat named Christine in Anwa Village, who has a green bird and an orange bow, to mimic Mr. Wright. If we deliver this letter to Mr. Wright, inside is supposed to be a photo of her, but instead we get this photo of Princess Peach. It gets even better in the Switch version when you see the photo, because while it's changed, you can actually see an imprint of a goat hoof print. A nice touch. Don't be fooled, Mr. Wright. Last time I may have mentioned that Goombas are only found in 2D sections. Always good to admit when you're wrong. But that's not what this video is about. This pink, bubbly, bouncing, inhaling piece of doom can be found in the Eagle Tower. In the original player's manual, it was referred to as an Anti-Kirby, and mentioned it must be his evil twin. Unlike our heroic Kirby, this one sucks you up and shoots you out with undeniable cuteness. He's immune to your sword, so you'll have to use something like a bomb or a boomerang. I'm watching you. In Link's Awakening, did you know that Richard is actually from another game? It was only released in Japan and was called The Frog for the Bell Tolls, which is also based on a novel by Ernest Hemingway, For Whom the Bell Tolls. Whoa, Richard is one of the princes in the game, and listen to this, the field music is nearly identical to his house music. Man, I wish I could turn into a frog. Ribbit. This is my favorite secret. In Link's Awakening, you can find this frog who teaches us a song. In the US version, he is called Mamu, but in other areas like France and Germany, he is called by another name, Wart. And how appropriate, because he actually comes from another game, Super Mario Bros. 2 USA. In that game, Mario's big foe is a giant frog, Wart, at the end. But hold on, this game is actually based off of Doki Doki Panic, where Wart really comes from. Now this is where it gets cool. In Doki Doki Panic, there is a dream machine created which is used to give those around it nightmares in order to take over the dream world. In Link's Awakening, we have a windfish who is a deity so powerful it can create land and life within its dreams and even pull those around it into its own dream dimensions like a gravity well. This is what happens to Link. The windfish suffers from nightmares, and those just might have been caused by the dream machine. Thanks a lot, Wart. Pretty cool connection. Thanks everyone for joining me in this Link's Awakening journey. I'll see you back in Majora's Mask.